7. Now read the passage about cultural perceptions of time. You will have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to part of a lecture in a cultural studies class.
We were talking about monochronic and polychronic cultures last week, and I wanted to repeat some of the things we discussed. Remember that these are the extremes, and most cultures lie somewhere in between. We also discussed that there are monochronic individuals within polychronic cultures, and vice versa, polychronic ones within monochronic cultures. Now, one might think that a monochronic society is more efficient because monochronic individuals can make a linear plan, predict how long it will take, and follow through on it. They arrive on time, set deadlines that they meet, and can be depended on to get the work done on time. But how often have you read in job advertisements that they're looking for someone who can multitask? So what does that mean? Someone who can do several things at once, right? And who can do that? A polychronic person. In essence, they are people who can step in and be moved around within a company. These are the people who become irreplaceable on the job because of their ability to juggle several tasks at the same time. Interestingly, while efficient polychronic people are appreciated at the workplace, they frequently don't move up the promotional ladder. Why? Because it isn't easy to replace a person who can multitask effectively.
The professor describes the behavior of monochronic and polychronic people. Explain how their behavior is related to their suitability in the workplace. Eight. Now read the passage about weathering. You have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to part of a lecture on weathering in a geology class.
When we examine rocks in terms of the weathering process, it's obvious that the climatic environments must also be taken into account. Think about the weather conditions in arid areas. In those areas, the frost at night expands along cracks in the rocks, and in the day, the rocks expand in the heat. This mechanical process of weathering due to the fluctuation between frost action and heat expansion is common. Now, in the tropical areas where rainfall is heavy, the chemical process is common. There's less mechanical weathering since the temperature remains high. In temperate climates, where we can see a warm summer with rainfall and a colder winter with frost, both chemical and mechanical weathering are common. What about the polar regions? Well, we are not going to see much weathering in terms of chemical processes since there's little rainfall. Neither will we see many mechanical or biological processes. The Arctic conditions allow very little weathering, in fact. Now, what about biological processes? The weathering caused by tree and plant roots wedging into the rocks, animals burrowing into the ground, or the decay of dead organisms causing destructive acids? Well, plants and animals live in all areas. But again, because we see fewer plants and animals in areas of extreme climates, we see less biological weathering there.
The professor describes climatic conditions. Explain how these conditions relate to different weathering processes. The program continues on the next CD.